Good morning, Carbon School District. Today is school dismissal day 10, March 27th. This is Superintendent Hatch with a morning message for you. Welcome to Friday. Today I'd like to just share a quick message about the difference between sprinting and marathon running. Sprint running is the opposite of marathon running. They are two completely different approaches. From the outside, you think it's pretty much the same. You're running, but from technique to the mentality of each of these activities are totally different from one another. For example, in sprinting, the goal is to get off to a very quick start. You are driving your arms and your legs as hard as you can to get up to the fastest speed that you can as quickly as possible. So the goal is to shorten that stride and really drive those legs and arms. There is a lot of instantaneous decision making. There's split-second action. It's all happening at high speed, and your senses are finely tuned and heightened so that you can make those split-second decisions and take those actions in the short time frame that you have. These are short races, these are bursts, and sprinting is exciting and easy to watch because it starts quickly and there's a lot of action in it and it's over quickly. The opposite of that is marathon running. Marathon running is a long activity. Marathon usually takes people about 4.5 hours to run, I guess, on average. You have to plan for 26 miles. The goal here is to conserve energy because you know you're going to need it in the long run. You don't expend a lot of energy up front. You conserve it. One of the goals of a marathon runner is to understand that human instinct is to give up at a certain point when it gets really hard. So the marathon runner trains to persist when that human instinct kicks in. The marathon runner focuses on pace. They have an extreme obsessive focus on that pace. They know exactly how fast to run. If you run too fast in a marathon, you'll never make it to the end. You will burn out. If you run too slow, then you're not going to meet your goal, and you might risk not finishing also because of how long it's taking. So you have to be on pace. A marathon runner has to pay attention to the activity at hand because it's such a long, drawn-out activity. The runner's attention sometimes can get turned away from what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish onto other things like my muscle burns or the weather or something like that. When a runner's attention turns away from the activity at hand, worry and anxiety can result. That is the biggest enemy of a marathon runner. As soon as the attention turns away from the pace and what you're trying to accomplish, what you're doing right now, worry and anxiety set in. That is the kiss of death for a marathon runner. Another strategy that marathon runners employ is to overwhelm pessimism with positivity. They have trained themselves to continue to have positive self-talk, to just simply overwhelm the pessimism that inevitably starts to creep in as you're progressing on that marathon. So we've transitioned, folks, from sprinting to marathon running. We have been sprinting. We needed to. It was necessary. We needed to get off to a fast start. We had to work hard and we had to work fast. We drove our figurative legs and arms as fast as we could to get up to high speed quickly with what we're doing with students in our distance learning, whether it be packets or online learning. The learning curve was high. We had to make split-second decisions about what to do and how to do it. We did need to take quick action, and our senses were heightened. We were feeling that adrenaline rush of doing something new and different and figuring things out and problem solving. We anticipated a short time frame though, and now we know that that short time frame has turned into a long time frame. I thank you all. We have sprinted. You have done this amazing thing. But I'm concerned that if we continue sprinting in a marathon, we won't make it. So we need to transition from that mindset of being sprinters, and we need to move on to becoming marathon runners. We have to move forward as marathon runners. This is the way our world is right now. So we need to plan for at least a full month more of school dismissal. We've already done 2 weeks, and we have another month ahead of us. We need to conserve energy. We cannot continue to go as hard and as fast as we have been. We need to recognize that the human instinct is to give up, and we need to shift our goals to be that of being persistent even in spite of that human instinct. We need to focus on our pace. We need to make sure we're not moving too slow, but we cannot afford to move too fast, or else we risk not making it to the finish line. So that has to do with our own efforts. I've heard of a lot of teachers who are feeling quite overwhelmed, especially now that the duration of this school dismissal has lengthened. So for us as educators, we need to make sure we're not moving too fast. It has to be manageable. What we do needs to be realistic for us, and we need to make sure of that. We also need to make sure we focus on the pace for students. We need to recognize that we spend a lot of time and energy on the environment in schools so that we can optimize student learning. That environment no longer exists for these students. Their learning environment is completely different, and it is in no way to the level that we can control in our schools. So we need to be careful to make sure we're not doing too little with the students, but I'm more concerned with not moving too fast with the students and asking too much of them when they have lost the greatest learning environment situation, which is what we have in our schools. We need to pay attention to the activity at hand. When our attention turns away from our activity at hand, worry and anxiety result. Our students need us to be worry-free and anxiety-free, and that's why we need to continue, like a marathon runner, to focus on what we're doing right now and not allow pessimism to overwhelm us. We need to do the opposite. We need to overwhelm pessimism with positivity, just like a marathon runner will, and remember that we can do this. We have been sprinting. and I'm grateful, and I thank you all for all of that sprinting that you have been doing. But we need to transition to be marathon runners, and that transition is critical. Um, and as we do that, we're gonna get to the finish line, whether that's May 1st or a week after that or a week after that. We will be just fine because we have been able to adjust our approach. I want to thank you. You're all working so hard and doing such amazing things, and I hope that you enjoy a very well-deserved weekend. Please do not work this weekend. We all need a break. We need to spend time with family and friends, and even if we're maintaining social distancing and and staying safe. Have a great weekend.